Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 30 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from New York. With me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, wake up, grab a brush, and put a little makeup. It's my friend Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
Well, the makeup is obviously corpse paint.
Naturally.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that band today, aren't we?
We are indeed. There's some interesting System of a Down news coming up on the podcast. But before we get to that, what's going on? It's Thanksgiving week. What's going on up in merry old New Hampshire?
It's going to snow tomorrow. That's kind of shitty.
Oh yes, we are getting that too. We're recording this on a Tuesday, and at last I checked the weather forecast, I heard this is supposed to start early tomorrow and continue through like 1 a.m. Thanksgiving Day. This snowstorm.
Something like that, but pushed back a few more hours for me. I don't think it's going to turn to snow here until about noon, 1 o'clock, whatever. It was 60 yesterday. What the hell do you want? Or yesterday meaning Monday. I don't know. Whatever.
This weather is so like manic depressive.
It basically went all northeast on us in a 5-day span in all its glory. This is New England here's the Northeast. This is what you get in a typical shitty week, and here you go, all at once. So, whatever.
I went to the gym yesterday. I walked to the gym after work, bear in mind. This was like 6:30 p.m. In a t-shirt and shorts.
Yep.
And tomorrow we're getting snow because yay for sense.
Because of course we are.
So,
whatever.
Other than that, what can I tell you? Not too much going on here. I know we talked about this before. I'm into full steam ahead with Dan Eats Like a Freshman, my newest routine. Folks, for those of y'all out there, when I say Dan Eats Like a Freshman, I did not gain the freshman 15 during college. I was so preoccupied with not gaining the freshman 15 that I ended up losing 30 pounds, in fact, because I only ate egg whites, veggies, and more veggies. And aside from bacon, which I am including now because God damn it, I'm not going to give up bacon. I've been doing a lot of veggies, and it's tasty. I had some steamed broccoli last night. I had some rainbow chard tonight. You
know,
good stuff.
When anybody talks about cooking or greens of any kind, for some reason my mind keeps reverting back to that Juggalo video. Make some fucking collard greens and chicken fried steak.
Gonna put some weight on so then we can lose it together.
I don't know why my mind keeps going back to that, but I'm not entirely upset that it does.
Well, see, my thought there was of check it out with Dr. Steve Brule, where he goes to the restaurant and he orders everything, and then he pushes the salad away because he's like, I'm not a rabbit. What the hell am I eating salad for? I'm not a rabbit.
I gotta watch a few more of those. It's been a while.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. John C. Reilly is a mad genius.
5 of boats.
But anyway, going back to, waking up, grabbing brush, and putting on a little makeup for things, let's get into our headlines for the week, starting off with the aforementioned System of a Down, who the long hiatus, is that a word?
Yeah.
The long hiatus System of a Down has announced they'll be reuniting for a short European tour next April. The tour is going to be called the Wake Up the Souls Tour, and it's going to coincide with the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, which the band has long been very vocal about. They've called for Turkey, who they accuse of perpetrating the genocide, and history really accuses of perpetrating the genocide in conjunction with Hitler. They call for Turkey to acknowledge their role in genocide, which it has refused to do. And, this has brought the band into quite a bit of conflict over there in the Middle East. The press release says, quote, "As we mark this solemn centennial, please join us and the good people of conscience in Turkey to take a stand for truth and justice and ask their president and parliament to accept the Republic of Turkey's moral and material responsibility for the Armenian genocide. With your help, such a historic step taken by the people of Turkey in the spirit of human solidarity, heartfelt compassion, and justice will not only heal the wounds of one genocide, but will more broadly represent a truly transformative step toward a new era, or toward a new age, an era without genocide." The tour is going to hit London, Cologne, Lyon, Brussels, Amsterdam, and Moscow before concluding in Armenia, the home of the band's ancestors. It's going to wrap up in Yerevan, Armenia. Will we see more after that? Who knows? Do you care, Corey?
You know, we talked about this the other day, and I voiced my apathy towards, having System of a Down reintroduced into my life. And then you drop the wake up, grab a brush, and put on a little makeup. And as soon as you did that, I happened to go back and listen to pretty much the discography. And yeah, I kind of hope there's more dates. I wouldn't mind seeing them in the States now. It didn't take long. I listened to like 4 tracks. Is like, yeah, Toxicity's good. Yeah, they've written some awesome stuff. Yeah, let's extend this a little bit.
This just takes me back to middle and early high school, Dan, when I was like just a fledgling metal listener, and I thought this was the hardest of the hardcore shit, and I was just like, yeah, System of a Down.
Well, the music video for Toxicity actually kind of got the ball rolling at a much faster rate towards heavier music for me, because I remember hearing it and being like, whoa, this is really fucking weird, and this guy sounds like a moron, but it kind of works. And I liked it. The music video was kind of stupid, but whatever. But I was hooked to this song, and I immediately got the album, and so on and so forth. And yeah, and obviously there's a lot of System of a Down in my collection at this point. I had forgotten about them for a long time just because they haven't done things.
They were hiatus.
All of the hiatus. But no, this is pretty cool, and I can hope that maybe they will throw some U.S. slots in there in some capacity, whatever that may be. Why not?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, they are playing in December. They're playing the K-Rock Almost Acoustic Christmas concert out in L.A., but nothing on a U.S. basis beyond that. Now, drummer John Dalmayan has hinted at more stuff being in the works a number of times, but only time will tell, I guess.
Right.
So. But for now, System of a Down, if you're in Europe, fuck you, we're jealous. Go to some of those shows because I'm pretty sure they're going to be kick-ass.
Yep, so, pretty much.
Yeah.
Neat.
Moving on, our next headline. We had a funny development in the metal world today. Shout out to Adrian B. Grand for calling our attention to this on Twitter the other day. Want to talk about Curzum, which is not a Pokemon. Even though I've been playing a lot of that lately. No, Curzum is an extreme metal tribute to The Cure. Now, this is apparently just started up, but they've got stuff in the works for both studio and live settings. A quote from Curzum's Facebook page says, Curzum is comprised of and augmented by an impressive array of Pacific Northwest metal musicians, all throwing down for their love of the dire music Bob & Co., that's Robert Smith, have been churning out over the years. It's a very real and very grim and very awesome thing to behold. Witness the black light from beyond the goth club dance floor. So color me intrigued. I don't know about you, but
oh man, I took 4 seconds to kind of scroll through their Facebook page, and I was all of the interested.
Their Facebook page is so funny.
I know.
There's so much.
The first thing I saw, aside from the genre and the band members, because that's funny, but whatever. The first thing I saw besides that was hometown Blackpool, Norway. And from there, it's just been all gravy. It's just, I don't know. This has so much potential.
You've got hometown Blackpool, Norway. You've got the cover photo of Varg's infamous battle axe picture with Robert Smith's head photoshopped onto it. You've got just today they put up a stencil photo that's called "Nords Don't Cry" instead of "Boys Don't Cry." The one thing that had me on the floor. I mean, I know I showed this to you. So the About Me said, like the short version of the About Me says an extreme metal tribute to The Cure spelled out, and then they have a long version which is that exact same phrase but with one letter per line. So a lot of hard returns. It's vertical, yeah. The sense of humor is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure musically it's going to be wonderful, but they've got me on the jokes alone at this point. So I'm interested in seeing it because from a sonic standpoint, we've heard something like this. The black metal band that channels the Cure thing. I mean, it came up with Deaf Heaven last year, but Deaf Heaven is writing original stuff. This to me seems like a covers only project, at least from the outset, which I think should be very interesting because I'm a Cure fan. I would like to see how this translates to an extreme metal backdrop.
Yeah.
I don't know. About,
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, I don't see a reason.
You don't listen to a lot of Cure, do you?
I listen to none Cure.
Listen to zero Cure.
But I don't care. I'm sorry. When your personal interests are church fires and red lipstick, you got my attention. So I mean, let's do it. I'm on board. Why not?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear this. I want to see if we can get them on at some point because that would be fun.
Yeah, it would.
But anyway, yeah. So Curesum is the band. The Facebook page is just facebook.com/Curesum. Check them out. It's fun already. I reckon it'll be even more so once the music comes out. So that'll wrap up our headlines for the week. We're keeping it short this week. Let's get into some new releases. Starting off with Primordial. It's the 8th full-length album from the Irish Black Folksters, and it is called Where Greater Men Have Fallen. I mentioned that this is black and folk metal, but, funny enough, this thing doesn't really have too many elements of either anymore.
Well, you're right. I mean, forgive me, I'm not the most familiar with Primordial and what they've done in the years past, but I would agree. You don't see too much of that from this at all, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. It's kind of hella cool, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, what it does have though is this thing it has its fair share, more than its fair share of epicness. I mean, this thing feels massive in literally every regard. You've got a tremendous sense of melody. Alan's vocals just soar on every track. He just sings with so much force, so much power in his voice. It's almost reminiscent of a lot of the 80s guys who where you could have guys going crazy on the instruments, but then just a super powerful vocalist to tie the room, the proverbial rug tying the room together, to borrow from the dude. The production was excellent, and we do, I was busting its balls. We do see a little bit of a folky side on the closing 2 tracks. I don't know if you got to those.
I didn't, unfortunately.
So the closing 2 tracks, Born Tonight and Come Lightning to Split the Sun, just absolutely fantastic, epic tracks. The former, Born Tonight, it's instrumental for about 3.5 minutes of its almost 9. You've got clean guitars, a natural ambient sound. It's just incredible. And then that segs into Come Lightning to Split the Sun, where it starts with acoustic guitars and beaten drums. Like it's just very. It's very natural. It's very militant sounding. Just absolutely epic. Some other highlights. We've got Come the Flood, which was a preceding single. The Seed of Tyrants. Overall, what I love about this thing is that despite not having a ton of natural sounding instrumentation, obviously on the last 2 tracks, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
This thing has a very natural feel to it. It feels like you're traveling across like this rainy, windy plateau landscape all the while, just beating your fist to your chest and like conquering distant lands and all kinds of stuff. It's just so powerful. It's just such an encompassing listen, Yeah,
I unfortunately, like I mentioned, I wasn't able to get entirely through it, but I did get that same feel, and I don't know. It's the bands that kind of can create this epic atmosphere like they do always find a way into my collection. This is probably one I'm going to end up picking up anyway. More on that later with my binges that are coming. But it's definitely gonna be one I'm gonna have to go back to at least a few times. It was good stuff. It really was.
Yeah. Again, it's called Where Greater Men Have Fallen. It's the 8th full length from Primordial, and it's out now on Metal Blade, on the Spotify. Do your thing. Listen to it. I do not think you'll regret it, folks.
It's also a badass album name, not going to lie.
Yeah. Well, they're good at that.
Yes,
they're good at that.
Yes, they are.
I think
they are.
Their last one was called like Redemption at the Puritan's Hand or something like that. To the Nameless Deaths was another one. I mean, they're good at names. So moving on, we're going to get into an album from Fen. This is called Carrion Skies. It's their 4th full length. Again, these guys are from London. They're an atmospheric black metal trio. And now this one, on the other hand, has quite a few black metal elements to it. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, like all of it.
Yeah.
This I got into Fen a few years back. It was in 2012. I went down to Connecticut, and the only reason I go to Connecticut is for what I'm about to talk about.
Winter is Coming?
For Winter is Coming Fest, exactly, which Agalock headlined. I only went for Agalock, and I only went to Connecticut because of Agalock. But this is one of the bands that played that festival. I'd never heard of them. You know, I was talking to Aesop, the drummer of Agalock, and he's like, yeah, these guys are great, and he wasn't wrong. They're really cool, you know, London black metal, which I guess works. And the first album I actually really looked into it from them was from Dustwalker, which I believe I've introduced you to at some point or another, you know, in the past couple of years. It came out, I want to say, either late 2012 or early 2013. I can't quite remember.
It was 2013.
Yeah.
2013.
Yeah, that's fair. And it wasn't like this album. It was more mellow, almost more Alcesty, if you will, on the black metal side of things. This, on the other hand, was a complete change of pace. This thing's
aggressive.
It's very aggressive. It's very dark. I love the way it's produced. I love how it's got that raw feel to it. I gotta be honest, man, going through this thing, I mean, I think The Dying Stars is one of the better songs I've heard this year. That one really grabbed my attention. But, you know, the whole thing I enjoyed. I mean, you can talk to it some, obviously, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. First thing you'll notice right off the bat is this thing is long. It has 6 songs, and it's more than an hour in length. But fortunately, they do quite a bit to mix things up, change feel in the songs. You know, it helps them, you know, not feel tedious. You know, when you have songs that run for 11, 12 minutes is important.
Yep.
I think of the first song, Our Name's Written in Embers, Part 1. I mean, I counted at least 3 or 4 different sections or musical themes throughout this thing. It's almost, I mean, do I want to drop the P word here? It's almost proggy.
No, it is. It is. I mean, it is, though. And the thing is, though, this is what they do, though. They write these long-ass albums with these songs that are 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes long. I know we talked about Dustwalker, but it was the exact same length. It was an hour and 2 minutes, and it was 7 tracks. But the ebbs and flows of these records is just incredible. I mean, they can do one thing, and to be honest, when this album got moving, I wasn't crazy about it. The first couple minutes of Our Name Written in Embers, blah blah blah. I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird. And then after about 2 minutes, it just completely changed, and I was pretty much hooked from that point on for the rest of the album.
And that's
definite
what they do. Grower.
Yeah, that's what they do, and it's awesome. It is. It's I don't know.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I really enjoyed it. You mentioned The Dying Stars. For me, the highlights, there was a 1-2 punch later on in the album. I started with Sentinels and then into Menhir Supplicant. Yeah. Or Menhir Supplicant, however you pronounce that word. Just absolutely fantastic. The beginning of Sentinels was so pretty.
Yep.
You know, Menhir just felt like it was sweeping you away into a storm. Just absolutely incredible stuff. I can tell this is going to be an album I'm going to want to go back and revisit. Almost like you know, like I think of in terms of tone. There's no real comparison here, but I think of the movie Shaun of the Dead, where it's been out for now 10 years, and I can still go back and watch this movie and pick out new jokes that I hadn't noticed before. This thing, Carrion Skies, I feel like I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to be able to listen to it for weeks and months and be picking out new elements that I hadn't noticed before. It's just a very, very complex album, very intricate album, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the reasons why I like this band so much. And again, they're more of a recent discovery for me and the grand scheme of things, and they do the same for me that Agalock kind of does. I mean, Agalock, I don't think I went through the Mantle 20 times without finding something new each time. And this is a band, Dustwalker, you know, in that category, that has done the same for me. And like you said, I know it's gonna be an album that does not change that one bit. So it's on my list of 2 buys or 2 acquires. In the future, because it was that good of a listen. It really was. Both these albums were, though. Who am I kidding? This was a good week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a relatively quiet week. There weren't that many
True.
new things coming out
True.
because obviously we're so late in the year. But the ones that did very well. And this isn't, we didn't even touch on Skalmold has a new album coming out. The Icelandic Viking metal team. So that'll be one I'll listen to. But yeah. Definitely with you at the very least on Primordial and Fen. Two very good albums for y'all to check out. Again, Fen's album is called Carrion Skies. It's out now on Code 666 Records. It's on Spotify. You know what to do. So now let's move into our closing segment. Let's move into Horns Up and Horns Down. Corey, we'll start with you. Horns Up. What made you happy this week?
Oh, man. Well, there's a few things that I actually want to go over. I'll talk about one specifically because it occupied, unfortunately, too much of my Sunday than I'd like to admit, but whatever, we'll get there. I found out today at work that I'm going to have, and this is not a band I really am super crazy about. We usually allot this time to any past concerts, none of which has happened for either of us, but whatever. So I feel like I'd mention it. I got a pre-sale opportunity for a show at, awesome enough, Fenway Park next July. It's the Foo Fighters.
Really?
The Foo Fighters.
Huh.
Yeah, and, pre-sale opportunity, the tickets are pretty much wherever you want them. They range from $50 to $75 for pre-sellers, and I'm going to try to gather a caravan to go down. Tickets go on sale December 2nd for me because I'm awesome and I work for companies that sponsor things. And this being one of those things. And I figure, what the hell? It's probably one of the heavier shows I'll ever see at Fenway Park. So why not take a look into it? So that's pretty cool. That's the thing that's happening.
Yeah, they're playing Citi Field here, and I know a couple of the guys and I are trying to get on that.
Nice.
Once tickets go on sale too.
Citi Field's not Fenway Park though. Granted, I say that
it is not.
I've never seen.
It is not. It's.
I've seen games at Fenway Park, but never a concert. But I assume they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
My roommate actually saw Jack White there a few weeks ago or a few months ago, which I guess is pretty epic. So who knows? Good things to come. But what I actually want to talk about, and you're never going to have, write this down, folks, because it's never going to happen again. I'm actually going to talk about a TV show. Like a real one.
What?
I watched something.
Blasphemy!
I watched something on the television that isn't sports.
You watched something on the Philo T. Farnsworth video box?
I didn't expect that. It was funny. Yes. Yes, I did. The Newsroom, actually. I've been getting blown up the past few months. I don't know why. I really don't know why it's been so recent, but I've been getting all these links and all these messages to check out the first episode of the Newsroom, specifically the first 10 minutes. I didn't really know what to expect. And then I'm sitting there watching the first 5-10 minutes of the Newsroom of the first episode of the first season, and I see this guy basically just slam America for 5 minutes about how we should no longer be considered the greatest country in the world. I'm like, attention gathered. So
bold, very bold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but basically, Will, the main character, the news anchor for this, television station, this news station.
Jeff Daniels.
Yep, Jeff Daniels. He's with a couple other news anchors giving this like open forum to a university, Northwestern University. And one of the girls says, in one sentence or less, everybody laughs because one sentence or less is a fucking stupid comment. She basically asks, why is America the best country in the world? And one guy says, freedom, and one person says, diversity and opportunity or whatever, and Jeff Daniels says the New York Jets. And obviously that's bullshit because the Jets fucking are terrible. But then, he gets asked to, answer the question, and he goes, it's not the greatest country in the world. He bashes the other guys for basically their comments being retarded. He says freedom, there's like 180 free nations in the world out of 207. Don't give me shit about freedom. And he just goes to list how America is only the best country in 3 categories, or number 1 in 3 categories, and its number of incarcerated citizens, number of people that believe in angels. And then I can't remember the third, but it was along a similar line, just ridiculousness. And it got my attention. It really did. I mean, that was pretty entertaining, and I watched the entire season in a day and a half.
Wow.
with company.
You were moving there.
I know. It was bad. I think I have bed sores from it. No, me and my roommate, we were both kind of hooked on it, so we watched it. It was great, and the character development's okay, not the best. Some of the storylines are, I'm not gonna say ideal, but the fact of the matter is, when it really boils down to it, as pretentious as the show kind of is, if news was actually like this, where it just called out lies,
kind of is,
whatever.
Sorry.
Now I need a minute. I was on to something. Damn it. If news was like how it is on this show, where they just call out lies, I would watch the news. I don't watch the news, so therefore, there's your result. I like a TV show about the news. That's not real news, but I wish it was the news.
I'll admit, I did watch a couple of episodes when it first came on, and I was a little put off by it. I was just like, this show is so up its own asshole.
Oh, it totally is, though.
Blah, blah, blah. It felt like, I think a lot of it was like me being pissed off at like the Syracuse kids just blindly sucking Aaron Sorkin's dick. Because, he's a Syracuse alum, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if you're giving it such a ringing endorsement, I'll go back and give it another shot. I have to ask you. Yeah, to ask you. While we're on TV shows, did you ever end up finishing season 1 of Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I did actually. It was awesome. I laughed my ass off.
It's wonderful.
It's
wonderful.
It really is. That was when we started. While you were here for the Portland Timbers New England Revolution
birthday weekend.
Birthday weekend, exactly. And yes, I did finish that. Pretty much, the coming 3 days, and I was very well entertained. So bear in mind, this newsroom is one of maybe 4 shows I watch. So for me to like it, it pretty much means it has a 25% chance of sticking around or whatever. It's a good show. I don't mind it. I don't watch much TV, but this is one I guess I'll inevitably see through. I'm halfway fucking through the series, so why not? And then I'm caught up.
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah, exactly. Hour-long episodes, whatever.
Good
All right,
stuff.
what do you got?
So I am going to talk about, for my horns up, I am going to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon. The Nintendo, in its last desperate hope to, actually make money, has taken to revisiting past glory and remaking old Pokemon games on the DS, on the 3DS. The latest of which, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, revisit the old Game Boy Advance games Ruby and Sapphire. And because I am just a blind Pokemon fanboy, yes, I am 25 years old and I still love Pokemon. I don't care who knows it. Because I'm a blind Pokemon fanboy, I naturally pre-ordered Alpha Sapphire and have been playing this more or less since its release on Friday. And on Friday, I picked it up from GameStop. I was playing with it on the subway home. I grabbed a seat on the subway, and a couple stops into my journey, this little child. I'm honestly not sure if it was a boy or a girl because it had a hood on and was wearing gender neutral clothing. This child boards the subway with its parents. Its parents. I'm just gonna assume it was a boy. So he gets on the train with his parents, and he ends up standing right in front of me, and he's like peering down at me playing my DS, and he's like, "Is that a DS?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is. Do you have one?" He's like, "No, I have a Wii U. I like Wii U more." And I was like, "Ah, man, I missed out on Wii U. I haven't tried it yet." And so this launches into this whole conversation. This adorable little, couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 year old kid, telling me while I think this duration of our conversation was maybe 5 minutes, and he devised this elaborate plan whereby I could try out I could get myself a Wii U. He was like, "You should really try it. It's really cool. You know what you should do? You should have your brother buy one and then let you try it. And then that way you can see if you'll like it or not." I was like, "You know what? That's a really good idea. I think I might just do that." This kid was so adorable. I was just like melting the entire time. And we were talking about Xbox, because I said, I like your plan, but my brother already has an Xbox. It might be hard to convince him to get a Wii U. He's like, "Oh, you're right. I really like Xbox too, blah, blah, blah." It was just, And at the end of our journey, I get up to switch trains, and I offer him my seat, and he's like, "You were very kind. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a good night." And I was just like,
"Duh!" All the feels.
I was like, "This kid is just the best thing ever." So that happened now 4 days ago, and I still can't get it off my mind because this kid was just so adorable and very polite for a 4 or 5 year old.
Yeah.
So that's my horns up because it's holiday time, and I'm gonna go with the thing that brought the biggest smile to my face this week, and that was undoubtedly it.
That's fair. That's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah. I still can't get over it. You should have your brother buy one and then let you try it. And I was like, oh, it was all so easy.
Yeah, why didn't I think of that before?
Oh my God, what a cute kid.
Too much.
Anyway, those being said, let's move into horns down. What has been pissing you off this week?
Well, honestly, I can go on and on about Ferguson right now, which I'm not going to do. Really, even though the whole situation is just completely fucked over in every way, shape, or form.
Yes.
But I don't really want to take this time to talk about that because that's not fair to you. It's not fair to us because this is not going to be a 3-hour-long episode.
I am not going to show such restraint.
Yeah, I know. No, you're not. Which means I will help out when the time comes. So I'll keep my horns down to something a little more amusing, a little less serious. My horns down is Black Friday. I fucking hate it. It's upcoming. It's, guess what? If you're listening to this today, it means it's today.
For us, it's 3 days from now, but for you, it's now.
Ew! Yeah, it is. Or it's
we just went all interstellar on this shit.
You haven't seen that yet. Don't worry about it.
You have to.
It's probably
anyway,
it'll probably happen this weekend, to be honest, because long weekend. So anywho, yeah. So Black Friday is a piece of shit. People that are that obsessed with just fucking spending an exuberant amount of money or saving an exuberant amount of money on a bunch of shit that nobody really needs, shame on you. I've never supported it. I think it's the most ridiculous thing ever. When it follows up the day we're supposed to be giving thanks is a day we just spend whimsically. Talk about cherishing what you have. Whatever. I'm mostly enraged about Black Friday because I'm going to fucking participate this year. Okay, not in the traditional sense. I'm not going to go to Target.
You're going to be buying shit for yourself.
Obviously. I mean, I'm me here. I'm not going to be going to Target. I'm not going to be going to Best Buy. I'm not going to be doing any of that garbage and, mauling over store clerks trying to get to the goddamn closest 60-inch TV first. None of that shit. I found out, actually, recently that Bulmos is going to have a Black Friday sale. I mean, relatively straightforward. Everything's going to be on sale. Some stuff like no more than a couple % off. Some stuff, 25% off or whatever. Sales and stuff. And
yeah,
it's in downtown Portsmouth. It's shopping small, which is what I try to do as much as I can when it comes to this shit. I don't like to shop. I like what I consider go buying, which means you figure out what you want to get and then you go to the store and get it. You don't fucking peruse. Anywho, so I found out Bulmos is going to be having Black Friday events, basically just discounts. And for me, I'm thinking to myself, well, let's see, that Fen album was pretty good. That Primordial album was pretty good.
Uh-huh.
That Monster Magnet album was pretty good that came out last week.
I didn't listen to it, but now I know.
It is pretty good. It's very retro. It's good. It's very good.
All right.
And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Bull Moose because I guarantee it's gonna be no more than like a dozen people in the store like usual because people are gonna be destroying Walmart.
People are going to be buying flat screens and game consoles and
for their freaking great grandson's nephew cousin that you didn't even fucking know you had 3 days ago.
Oh shit! Someone else to buy gifts for. Better go do it.
Right? I have a little bit of cynicism towards what Christmas has become. If you haven't noticed, everybody.
No, really?
No,
could hardly tell.
I'm gonna. Oh God! Also just religion. Anyway,
yes.
There's my shot. Religion for the evening. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to Bulmos. I'm gonna buy some albums for myself. But I'm also, I'm gonna try to get as much. If I see some things that other people might appreciate, I'm gonna do that as well. I can think of some things that my parents may like along the lines of used records and such. My brother has been interning at like a music studio out in out in LA for the last semester, so I'm going to try. He asked for a new pair of decent studio headphones, so I'm going to try to find a pair there, and I know they do have them, so that'll be pretty good. So I'm going to take advantage of it. Don't get me wrong. It's not just going to be by myself, but, I'm participating in Black Friday, which I kind of hate myself for, but I'm still going with the shop small mentality, which is, frankly, the way it should be.
Yeah. Shop small, shop local.
Yeah, exactly, and that's all this is. So, I mean, as much as Black Friday, as much as I hate it, it's cool because I'm supporting my community. I'm supporting my local record shop. I'm going to get some CDs out of it, and maybe, what the hell, cross a few people off the list. Why not? So, it's a horns down, but it's really more of a horns down with benefits.
Are you fucking your horns down, Corey?
I mean,
on the side.
I guess yes. I guess I don't know if that's. I guess that's how
HDWB.
HDWB. Horns down with benefits.
Oh boy,
that might be a thing we created.
Yeah,
kind of like mixed well.
I'll allow it. I have to. I have to. I prompted it. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Can't back down now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
very cool. Very cool. I may have to do some Black Friday shopping as well because I know I mentioned this to you before. So my grandfather is in need of a new Blu-ray player, and he doesn't want to wait until Christmas. He wants my brother and I to get it for him, and he wants to open it this weekend, ostensibly, which is fine. I certainly don't mind getting it for him. But he's a man without his Blu-rays. He can't watch his movies. So, so I'm trying to think. I'm going down on Wednesday. Thursday, obviously, everything's closed. Friday, might be it.
Those Blu-rays aren't going to watch themselves.
Yeah,
gotta get on that shit.
I was really hoping I wouldn't have to pop out on Black Friday, but I feel like Blu-ray is such antiquated technology at this point. Like everyone streams everything, so maybe there will be an ample amount of Blu-rays for the senior citizens out there that are just catching up.
Right. We're gonna participate in this venture of yours.
Yeah.
Where is this going to take place? Where are you going to do this? What store?
Oh God, I don't know. Wherever there's not much traffic.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck with that, Dan.
Yeah, crossing fingers. Anyway, my horns down. As I mentioned before, I am going to talk about something Ferguson related, not the issue itself, which I could go on for 4 or 5 hours about.
Yes.
I don't want to do that to you guys. No, I'm going to talk about an incident Peter King, the Sports Illustrated lead football writer, gave us late last night. Well, not late last night, around 9 o'clock last night. You recall... Monday night, I should say. It's not last night for y'all listening to this. 9 o'clock Monday night. Most of the world, as you'll recall, was transfixed on the news that white Ferguson, Missouri police officer Darren Wilson would not be indicted for the killing of unarmed black teenager Michael Brown and the resulting anguish and chaos that followed from such a ruling. Media coverage and everything. Sports Illustrated football writer and professional NFL dick fluffer Peter King took to Twitter to insult the New York Jets, who were playing a rescheduled game against the Buffalo Bills because of all the crazy snow upstate.
Right.
Now, bear in mind, there was a ton of uproar and dismay going on because a grand jury had decided not to indict Officer Wilson. So naturally, Peter King tweets, @SI Peter King. This is the biggest indictment of all. The Jets' special teams are worse than the offense. Like a fucking idiot. Now, about 10 minutes later, he backed off and issued an apology tweet saying he meant no harm and he hadn't been watching the news. And so I look at this in one of two ways. He's either a goddamn moron with a one-track mind who only cares about hucket-chucket football. Like, how could he not have at least been aware of something like this going on? What a fucking dolt. Yeah. Or B, he's a complete piece of shit who thought he could get away with an absolutely tasteless joke like this and then had to frantically backtrack to cover his ass, which wouldn't at all surprise me given the perceived omnipotence that the meatheads in the NFL have think they have anyway at every level. This whole situation is a shame. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it in any detail here, partially because we've already covered it in the previous Horns Down, partially because I haven't quite fully processed this yet, and partially because me doing so would turn this into a rant of epic proportions.
Right.
But suffice it to say, for this particular Horns Down, fuck you, Peter King. You're a complete clown, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I'm convinced it's B. I'm completely convinced he thought he was being witty. And and trying to make some kind of freaking completely tasteless joke, and then realize he's a fucking moron and had to cover his ass for his own perception purposes. I mean, really, I just.
Yeah, Peter, here's some advice.
damn
Go get yourself off Twitter and go back to sucking Roger Goodell's dick. Okay? Like, do something more constructive.
That would be more constructive for him.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's pathetic. I mean, there's no way that you can even remotely make a joke like that. And don't tell me that he was completely oblivious to the news at that point. You don't make a statement like, this is the biggest indictment at all. Yeah. Out of the blue. And that doesn't happen.
It's like, sorry, guys, I'm only watching football. I haven't been watching the news. Well, yeah, where the fuck have you been for the last 3 months? This started before football came back.
Exactly.
Okay? Like, you have to have heard about it. You fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, sorry. And he's exactly that, and that's why nobody respects him. So, I don't know, whatever. I hope he sees some backlash from that from his employer. Yeah. Probably not, because his employer fucking sucks too, but, whatever. This is the most obscene horns down I think I've had in quite a while. It's been a few weeks. The weeks of, or the days of the extremely aggressive horns downs where we just go on these 20-minute tangents about our hatred for all things. It's been a few weeks. It really has. Yeah. It's nice to get that out.
We had two horns ups last week, so this is.
I think I've had like 2 horns up the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So this is covering. This is a makeup. This is a makeup horns down.
Yeah, for real though. God.
Balls to the wall.
What an idiot.
Yeah. It's a shitty situation all around. But yes, that is my horns down for the week, and that is our podcast for the week. What do you got going on for Thanksgiving? What are you going to be up to the next few days?
Oh, not a ton. I'm appreciating the shortened week from a working standpoint. I'll make some rounds. I'll visit some family and friends that I can, or whatever, in the day and a half off or so I have. Probably not going to do anything super crazy for Thanksgiving. I know most of my family is out of the area due to school and military reasons. I know my parents aren't doing much. I should say my step-parents aren't doing much. I'll probably end up going out to eat or doing something with my dad, but nothing super crazy. And then dealing with the idiocy that is Friday. What about you? Anything super fun and exciting?
I'm going to be heading home to Pennsylvania. Or by the time y'all hear this, I will have headed home to Pennsylvania. I will have partaken in a Thanksgiving dinner of 20 people. And I will have pretended, yes, very much so. We normally have 8 to 10. So this is going to be fun. And I will have hopefully successfully pretended to be interested in the Philadelphia Eagles because they are playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. And about 10 of the 20 people we're going to be having for dinner are pretty big football fans. So
nice.
It'll be fun. But
I've got a game to watch that night too. Shit.
What do you have going on?
Seattle, Niners, San Francisco, or fucking Christ, the Santa Clara 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks.
Right. I did not realize that. Oh man,
yeah, that's the late game since they moved a third game to Thanksgiving now. It's the Niners on at 8:30, so that's a big one. That's an elimination game, really. Because both those two teams, I mean, whoever wins that game has the advantage in the wild card situation, but. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be fun. I gotta mention this real quick just because it's all the lulz. So I was losing by 1 point in my fantasy football matchup last week. And before the Monday night games, I realized I didn't have a kicker, so I picked up Dan Carpenter, right? Mm-hmm. I'm losing by half a point, and there's about 6 minutes left in the game in the fourth quarter, and Dan Carpenter is the only one I have going, and my matchup has nobody. Buffalo managed to score a garbage time touchdown, and Dan Carpenter with the extra point puts me through. I'm now 9-3.
Oh man,
it was fucking ridiculous, and the entire league hates me.
I just want to point out you have more wins in one league than I have in my 3 combined.
Jesus, yeah, I'm having a decent year. It's 6-6 in one, and then 9-3 in the other. But I'm still in 4th place in the league. I'm 500, and so I'll probably be looking at 2 playoff teams this year, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I just think this is my last year for fantasy football because, like, I don't care about the NFL anymore, and
it's really funny you mentioned that actually, because I've just been so apathetic to it. I mean, I watched the goddamn Red Bulls Revolution game on Sunday and didn't watch a wink of football. Right. To put in perspective,
I think I've watched combined maybe through 12 weeks of the season. I think I've watched combined maybe one game's worth of football, like 60 minutes worth of football. It's just. I just don't care anymore, and which has made it really hard to want to troll the waiver wire and actually compete in a fantasy league.
I do the bare minimum, man. I do the bare minimum. Set my roster on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and call it good.
Yeah. So we'll see. But anyway. That'll do it for episode 30. A reminder for you guys, check out the Horns Up blog for all of our content that we'll be sharing. We have daily content up there, hornsupmetalshow.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We are facebook.com/hornsuppodcast, Twitter @hornsuppodcast. You can get us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, you name it. Subscribe to us, tell your friends to subscribe to us. We certainly appreciate the listenership. And that'll do it for episode 30. Thank you guys as always for stopping by. For Corey Butterworth, I am your host, Dan Kaplan. And remember, live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
We'll see you next week.